accepting this set of facts as true, that Barry Beamish is living in Delton or someplace out of Bedford Township, and he intends to return to Bedford Township, that this is temporary, and can he still serve on the Township Board of Trustees? And Mark Brewer's response was the same as the township lawyer's response, and that is that yes, he can. He's not disqualified. That the test isn't duration of time, that he's not a resident of Bedford, but is rather his intent to return to Bedford after a temporary sojourn. I again asked, well, how long is temporary? Is it 3 months? Is it 2 years? Is it 7 years? Is it more? He said, no, that's not the test. The test is a intent of that, in this case, board member, to return to the township. I explained to Peter Goldtham, too, an issue that has some similarity that was filed in Calhoun County back in 2008. You might remember the name Susan Baldwin. She formerly was a Battle Creek mayor, a longtime Battle Creek city commissioner. In 2008, she ran for state house, what was then the 62nd district. And in the Republican primary, she faced off against Greg Moore. You may know him now as representative from Consumers who occasionally visits Bedford Township. Mm-hmm. He was at one of the township board meetings, I don't know, 3 months ago.
Oh, yeah, he's been to many of the meetings.
So here's why that has some significance. Susan Baldwin, in the Republican primary, challenged Greg Moore in a lawsuit in 37th Circuit Court, that is the Circuit Court venue in Calhoun County, on a theory that he didn't live in the 62nd district. Greg Moore arguably was living in the 63rd district, Emmett Town, what was the 63rd district, Emmett Township. So according to Susan Baldwin, he was not a resident, therefore should have been stricken from the primary ballot in 2008. There was litigation, expensive litigation from what I understand, and the 37th Circuit Court found in favor of Greg Moore back 15 years ago on similar facts. That is, Greg Moore was indicating that he was temporarily living in Emmett Township, but his intent was to return to reside. Sorry, I've been up in House Session. There's a caucus out right now, so you're going to hear some.
No problem.
Kind of bad music. There's some noise.
No problem.
Greg Moore was going to be later returning to Athens Township, which is then part of the House District in which he was running. So many thousands of dollars of litigation later, the Circuit Court judge found in favor of Moore, who ultimately prevailed in that lawsuit, went on to take the primary contest from Baldwin. He then went on to lose in the general election that year in 2008. But what that illustrates is
that cheaters never prosper.
Pardon me?
I said it illustrates to me that cheaters never prosper.
Well, yeah, on the latter part, I guess you can make that conclusion. But he won the lawsuit, and if on the latter part, I guess you can make that conclusion. But he won the lawsuit, and if someone were to file a lawsuit, Peter Goldtham say, against Barry Beamish, my sense is, given that precedent, although it's not a published decision, that there would be a finding that would be very similar. Well, someone would have to spend a lot of money to get to that probably similar conclusion. It's all going to be premised on intent. Now, I
understand, but Representative Haadsma, let me stop and ask this one thing.
Yes.
What law or even a court decision can you refer me to where the hinge point is intent? Because I don't think that someone would get out of, say, if they were committing fraud on their primary residence exemption on their taxes. I don't think that they're going to get away with it if they say, well, I intended to live somewhere else. I don't think that that's the case.
I didn't do my own independent research.
I think that that's the case.
I didn't do my own independent research on this. I talked with the township attorney and I talked with and heard his rationale.
Well, sure, but I think, but I don't mind telling you, sir, and I know that you are a law school graduate, and I respect that. I know that you are a bar association attorney. I respect that. I know that you are our representative in the state house, and I respect all those things. And I'm sure you don't, put no effort into this kind of a thing, but I think looking further is going to get you more truth here, because I'm almost certain, and I don't know how much you've accepted or trusted in what this attorney has told you, but I'm almost certain that the meter, the measure here that it would come down to in a court case as to what his actual residence was over this past year or so would not be his intent or his thoughts or anything, but it in fact would be things like his consumer's energy power bill and things that are evidence that could be subpoenaed that would prove where in fact he was residing for the last year or so.
So Justin, here's the deal. I am not an elections law expert.
Sure.
I don't have a private right of action against this township trustee. In good faith, I communicated with the township here. In good faith, I went to a very accomplished elections law lawyer and laid out the facts as presented to me. His response was that he didn't interview Mr. Beamish, didn't interview you, but his response was, this is a case in which, as long as it's his intent to remain a resident of the jurisdiction, in this case Bedford Township, the issue is not going to be about how durationally long he's living out of the district. Now, there is
what basis did he put that on, that there's no duration on how long you can live outside the district and not be considered living outside the district?
His expertise in election law. He's someone who, for example, is the lead counsel in this effort to keep Donald Trump off the Michigan ballot right now. And that's one of many cases in which he's been involved in. He just defended successfully a number of attempts to file recall petitions against a number of Michigan House members. That was filed back in the spring. I mean, he's a very accomplished lawyer. It was free advice I got from someone who knows elections law, whereas I know workers' disability compensation law, say. Mm-hmm. So I didn't reinvent the wheel and try to discern what the law says on this issue. I depended on communication with an elections law lawyer after I talked with the township lawyer, and then considering the outcome of the 2008 conflict in the 37th Circuit Court between Susan Baldwin and Greg Moore. So I haven't been charged to go and do my own independent research. I would not be a guy, despite the fact that I have a law degree and practiced law for 39 years, I don't pretend that I'm a specialist in elections law. So I relied upon someone who's a state expert in elections law with the hypothetical I presented to him. Right. So
well, if I could say this about the interaction, I mean, you described to me an individual who is clearly agenda driven. You said that he's.
I'm sorry. I'm trying. There's a speech going on. Say it again, Justin.
It comes across to me. It seems to me that you've described an individual that is clearly agenda driven. You've described someone who is engaged in trying to keep former President Trump off the Michigan ballot here, not because of any legal reason or standing, but just because he opposes President Trump.
No, I think there's legal reasoning and standing, but I just want you to know that I've done what I told Heikola I would investigate, and I did that, and I wanted you to know it correctly. So I don't have anything else I can add. I'm not.
Well, I would challenge you that the law supports. I would challenge you that the law supports actuality and not intent.
Justin, then the issue is this: you or someone else file a lawsuit in 37th Circuit Court. I think that's your remedy. I'm not the lawyer who's going to be able to bring that lawsuit.
Well, actually, I filed an official complaint with the Attorney General's office, and that seems to be the process. I believe it's the obligation of the Attorney General to pursue a quo warranto in this matter. And yeah, I do think.
I don't know what responsibility she has to file an action, but she would be responsible for responding to you. I just wanted you to know what's going on. I'm going to call Heikola. I tried to call Beamish, but unsuccessfully today. I've called Dennis McKinney. I cannot be there tonight because, as you can hear, I'm still in house session, and I was here till 2:45 this morning and back this morning, stay overnight, and we're going to be here this evening, so I cannot be in Bedford Township to make a report. But I wanted you to know that I wanted you to know it directly from me what I had learned after I made some investigations about what is the law standard in a case with these facts where someone is living in Delphin,
Sure.
Township.
Well, sir, if I can leave it to you like this, because I think you've probably talked with Adam and others more than you've talked to me about it.
I haven't talked to Adam yet. I'm going to try to reach you. If you got a phone number, why don't you?
I will. If I could mention this to you, the reason that this came to my attention was by no part of my investigation or looking for anything to have something against Trustee Beamish. Trustee Beamish said to me out of his own mouth, as news to me, him informing me that it's really not right for him to be on the board any longer because he has already moved out of the township and doesn't even work here anymore. He's both living and working in Delton. And he told me that well over a year ago.
So that would be a factual issue.
Sure.
That might support a contention that he should resign or be removed. But I was premising my hypothetical factual situation that Mark Brewer from Metropolitan Detroit, a friend of mine, I think the guru in state elections law, premised upon what I heard.
Sure. Well, that's why I was addressing that. You mentioned his intent. And in fact, we have, as a matter of evidence on video, many of the videos that you were present for, Barry Beamish changing his story from I haven't moved out of the township to I own houses in lots of places. It's none of your business which one I'm in. To I've moved temporarily to take care of my mother, to now I need to remodel the house that my mother was living in, and to now I plan on moving back, and now it's, well, I'm not going to rerun again, so just leave me alone for the rest of this term. None of this is anything that is evidence toward intent to briefly be away and then return.
All right. So the declaration I understood from speaking to Township Council was that this was a temporary removal to return later. So if there are other factual issues that modify that hypothetical that I posed to Mark Brewer, well, then I think that the remedy is to file this 37th Circuit Court action for removal.
Yes, sir. Yeah, if there's no action from the Attorney General, that's what we'll have to do. But I can assure you, if it does come to that again, the measure will be evidence of where he's actually lived and not any talk of intent of where he planned to live in the future.
That's a different hypothetical than I was assuming. My assumption was that he was away I understood to care for his elderly mother, it doesn't matter when we can return, but if he's given different versions of what his status is, that's a factual issue that would have to be resolved.
Well, at his monologue concerning it at the last meeting, he openly stated that his mother had been living in a care facility for some time, and that he was simply living over there in Delton for the purpose of remodeling the property.
And I don't think that takes away from intent to return, but obviously it attenuates the factual scenario somewhat from what I was.
Well, imagine how many places that I could say I've got an ongoing project on remodeling this house and how long that might take me. I assumed that I could serve out term limits before I was finished with the project and never actually live in the district somewhere.
Your contention is well made, because I asked, well, how long can someone be away? Is it like Odysseus in the Odyssey, where someone could just be gone
Right.
forever?
Right.
Practically speaking, and the answer was, it's not the duration, so it could be years. It's the intent. And the intent is a factual issue. It sounds like you may have some declarations on record that are different than what I was posing in what I asked the expert elections lawyer to assume.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I would just conclude with the thinking that that's probably why the procedure would be to use evidence and not intent, because how could you ever prove someone's intent?
Well, you can prove it by taking deposition testimony in a case, and he said, no, it's not my intent to return, and he just lied, and I think there would be ways to impeach him, not impeach him like a woman from office, I mean, just challenge his credibility. But all these are factual issues. I'm curious what the AG, Attorney General's office, is going to conclude.
Me too.
But in the meantime, you do have my appreciation for private right of action. Just know that somebody did this in relation to Greg Moore back in 2008. Susan Baldwin did this against Greg Moore in 2008 and lost in our county circuit.
So it sounds to me like a matter that they should have appealed on inadequate assistance of counsel. Because if the evidence was not reviewed as to the things like the
election had taken place, the primary election had taken place, probably by that point, who knows, the general election. I
Sure.
don't know. I wasn't part of that. I didn't know about it until I was investigating.
Sure. So, well, it sounds like nobody subpoenaed the evidence.
Research downtown, but the circuit court asked for 2008 while Susan Baldwin be Greg Moore, and that would be very enlightening.
I think the most enlightening part of that story is how it ended up for him.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to make sure you do it. I'm told I got good talk.
Yes, sir.
Speaking right behind me.
Yes, sir.
Just it's good talking with you.
You have a good day, Representative Haadsma, and God bless you and your work up there. All right. Well, I would love to stay and catch up with people on more stuff, but I still got to record the township meeting tonight and see what they're going to be up to. It sounds like there's much skiing and beering. I got much to update you on, but it's also my mother's birthday today, so I got to quit this silliness and get out of here and attend to my good mother on her birthday. I already have that meeting to deal with later tonight. So God bless you all, and I will catch up with you soon. Sounds like the Capitol building is worried about what we little peasants are bringing to the public eye over here. So please help us keep attention on that. Like, share, tell other people about it. Do whatever you can do. Please, everybody that can, get out to the meeting tonight and let them know that there are eyes on this situation. Stick up for each other's rights, defend each other's freedoms. God bless y'all. Happy birthday, Mom.